Hello everybody and welcome to another Game News Roundup. Today we are focusing specifically on the latest VGChartz estimates for the month of March 2023. Worldwide estimates breaking down US, Americas, Europe, Japan estimates. March, if you don't know, is a 5-week month because there are 52 weeks in a year. If you did 4 weeks a month, that'd be 48 weeks, so 4 months get an extra week. We do March, June, September, and December are the 4 months we add that 5th week to. So March, we've got a week ending March 4th, 11th, 18th, 25th, and as well as the week ending April 1st are the 5 weeks for March. So we'll be going over specifically the monthly figures. If you want to check out the weekly figures, you can go to the front page of VGChartz. Click on any of the specific weeks in the drop-down. You can check out any individual sales for any specific week. But for the month of March, PS5 sales are absolutely smashing all sorts of records and has probably set a record, potentially, for the biggest Q1 figures ever for a game console. In March alone, we have our estimates again. These are estimates, barring new information coming out and doing any specific adjustments, but we currently have PS5 at just a hair over 2 million consoles sold worldwide in the month of March, followed by the Switch at 1.135 million, and the Series X and S at just about 556,000, and then the PS4, what stock is left, we got just under 20,000 units. PS4 sales will probably continue to decline through the rest of the year until we get to every console being sold of the PS4. Breaking down the figures, we got North America for PS5 at almost 750,000 units, almost 600,000 in Europe, and 257,000 in Japan. Japan was the only place PS5 was not number one worldwide, as we have the Switch ahead of the PS5 in Japan, about 287,000 Switches sold in Japan. But then the Switch, we got 363,000 in North America, 273,000 in Europe. And then the Series X and S, decent enough sales in North America, but obviously it is by far its strongest market, 340,000 units sold in North America. Mind you, that is, do some simple math, that's less than half of the PS5, so it's not good. It's not good for Xbox comparing to how crazy PS5 sales are right now. So the gap is growing in favor of the PS5 between the PS5 and Series X and S. In Europe, Series X and S 134,000 units sold, and about 5,500 in Japan. And then PS4 3,400 in North America, 5,500 in Europe, and 7,500 in Japan. And lifetime sales worldwide, again, 123.91 million worldwide lifetime sales for the Switch, 35.8 million for the PS5. Again, these are sell-through figures, and then obviously when shipment figures come out, when Nintendo and Sony release their earnings report, there will always be some sort of gap between shipped and sell-through. Again, like Sony's shipping probably averaging about 2 million units a month per, every single month so far this year. And it takes many weeks to ship them worldwide, depending on where you're talking. Obviously, being manufactured over in Asia, it doesn't take nearly that long to ship into, say, China or Japan and whatnot, versus having to go all the way across to Europe, and then especially go to the Americas, where it has to be shipped generally by boat, which can take a long time, and then gets to, I think you can figure out, it gets to I would say the docks. What are they called again? The ports and whatever, and then from there they get onto maybe a train or a truck or whatever, and they get shipped all the way to wherever they're being shipped to around North America, so that can take time. So there's always going to be a bit of a gap, and the gap for PS5 will be the biggest it's been, just for the fact that Sony is shipping so many more consoles now than they have been. As well as the PS5 also is not selling out instantly like it used to. I've actually been seeing some available in stock online and in at least my local area here in New York. And then we have Series X and S at 21.35 million estimated sales lifetime. Series X and S sales are down compared to last year, which we'll go over that actually right now. We'll go over the worldwide estimates, the more specific details, and then we got Americas, Europe, and Japan breakdown articles. I figured I was waiting for all these to be posted before I went through these, so here we go. So worldwide, we went over these figures already, the lifetime. But now, generation over generation worldwide, the PS5 has still been tracking behind the PS4, but that gap is shrinking, actually. In the Americas and in Japan, The PS5 is actually now tracking ahead of the PS4, but it's still way behind in Europe. But again, that overall worldwide gap is shrinking, and shrank quite a bit in March. So yeah, PS5 sales compared to the same month for the PS4 in 2016, which would be March 2016, are up by over 927,000 units. So in 1 month, that gap between the PS5 and PS4 shrunk by 927,000 units. And the Series X and S, while obviously sales don't look great compared to the PS5, it is still performing better than the Xbox One. So equivalent month, it is up by nearly 86,000 units. Obviously, a far cry compared to how the PS5 is doing compared to the PS4. And I believe at this point, the gap between the Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One is below 1 million units. Before last holiday, it was much bigger, and it shrank through the holidays and has been steady, shrank a little bit, and obviously it's grown a little bit this month, but it's still it's tracking better than Xbox One, but it's not doing as well as it was doing. And again, year-on-year sales, PS5 sales are up 176%, 1.28 million units year-on-year. Switch sales are down 450,000 units, or 28%, which, considering how old the Switch is, it's to be expected that Switch sales will be on a decline from here on out. I mean, barring maybe when Tears of the Kingdom comes out in May, that'll be a really good month for Switch sales, but we'll see. And then Series X and S sales, this is the big oof, are down 343,000 units, or 38% year-on-year. I mean, I do admit, last March was probably the best non-holiday month for Xbox since the 360 days. But even so, that's not good to be seeing declines. But we'll see how things go once we get to, obviously, as I always say, Starfield. That is the big question mark. If Starfield can move units, that's good. If not, that's not good. But Starfield is the biggest question mark we've got. And obviously PS5 sales are going crazy. And then who knows what Spider-Man 2 is going to do with sales, and even Final Fantasy 16 and whatnot. And PS4 sales are down about 56%, 25,000 units, which is not a surprise considering there's only so many units left on store shelves at this point, which are selling out. And month-on-month sales, PS5 sales are up by nearly 74,000 units. Series X sales are up by nearly 35,000 units. And Switch sales are up by nearly 197,000 units month-on-month. However, obviously, it should be noted, March was a 5-week month comparing to February, which is a 4-week month. So, average sales per week, PS5 and Series X and S are technically down compared to February if you look at the average sales per week. While Switch sales are actually up, mainly due to Japan sales being so much stronger. And year-to-date sales, 2023 through Q1, so January, February, and March, we got the PS5 at 5.28 million units estimated sales, Switch at 3.2 million units estimated, and 1.5 million units estimated for the Series X and S. And again, if you want to check out any of these articles, specific details, the weekly sales broken down by the different regions we got here. Obviously, I broke down Americas, Europe, and most of all of Asia and Oceania as well. But if you want to check it out, links be below in the description. As always, if you enjoyed these breakdowns of the VGChartz estimates or any news breakdowns, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I'm trying to do these, as long as there's enough interesting stuff to talk about, I would try to do these, 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on what the news is. Obviously, if there's no interesting news, I probably won't bother doing a video, because I don't think you guys be interested in doing hey, look at these tiny little bit of news. And I don't know if you guys be interested in that. But if you are, let me know in the description down below. Also, PS5, Switch, Xbox Series X and S, do you own any of these consoles? Have you had any luck finding PS5s? That's what you've been looking for. I know Series X stock, for some reason, has been absolutely disastrous. Plenty of Series S stock available. I do know Microsoft does use the Series X for its xCloud gaming, for its, Xbox Cloud services. So that could be explained why there's so little Series X stock. But I think that's a big mistake on Microsoft's part. But hey, I'm not running Xbox. I just feel like the bigger the gap is not going to be good later on in the generation, but, Or another hypothesis, Microsoft is making Xbox look as bad as possible right now to increase the odds as Activision Blizzard acquisition is passed. I know that's complete speculation. That's I have no idea. I don't have any insider information or anything like that to what their plans are. So, anyways, America's sales. PlayStation set a record. PS5 set a record for PlayStation specifically, not overall record. In the Americas, this includes U.S., Canada, and all of Latin America, while those first figures I showed on the front page were just North America. So this includes Latin America added in. PS5, 811,000 units sold for March 2023. which brings its lifetime sales to 16.10 million units sold lifetime. 16.1 million units sold lifetime. Switch, 392,000 units sold in the Americas to bring its lifetime sales to 47.86 million units. And Series X and S sold 367,000 units in the Americas to bring its lifetime sales to 12.46 million units lifetime. So yeah, PS5 sales compared to the same month for PS4 in the Americas are up by nearly 430,000 units. Enough to now be tracking ahead of the PS4 in the Americas. And Series X and S sales compared to the same month for Xbox One are up by nearly 79,000 units. Although I do believe in the Americas, Series X and S is actually still tracking slightly below the Xbox One. It's mainly sales outside of the Americas that is the main reason that the Series X and S is actually tracking ahead of the Xbox One. As we know, in Japan, the Xbox One sold about 116,000 units lifetime, and the we'll get to that momentarily, but the Series X and S sales are over 400,000 in Japan. That's one of the main reasons. In some of these countries where Xbox One just was pretty much dead on arrival, Series X and S has some pulse. Even if it's not amazing, it's still not dead. But anyways, so yeah, PS5 in March is now tracking ahead of the PS4 in the Americas, and also the PS5 also set a specifically PlayStation record units for the most consoles sold in the month of March, being the previous record holder, which was set by the launch of the PSP in March 2005. So it set a new record in the Americas for PlayStation. And I believe I'll show, even though I didn't mention it, I believe it's also a record for PlayStation in the month of March. However, we don't have specific worldwide figures from March for PS1 or PS2. Well, we do have enough data for the Americas to know that, yes, it did set a new record. So it probably set a record worldwide with 2 million units sold in March, which is practically holiday sales. Anyways, let's see. Oh yeah, year-on-year sales. So PS5 sales are up 141% in the Americas, or 475,000 units. The Switch sales are down 33%, or 196,000 units. Series X and S sales are down 38%, or 224,000 units. Month-on-month sales, PS5 sales are up over 145,000 units. Switch sales are up by 29,000 units, and Series X and S sales are up by 57,000 units. And year-to-date sales in the Americas, PS5 just a hair under 2 million units sold in just the Americas alone for Q1, January, February, March. Switch at 1.08 million units, and Series X and S 0.97 million units sold in the Americas. Again, if you want to check out this full breakdown here, all the figures, link below in the description. Let's take a quick look at Europe sales. PS5, best-selling console, unsurprisingly, a hair under 600,000 units sold for March, bringing its lifetime sales to 10.93 million units lifetime. Switch sold an estimated 273,000 units, to bring its lifetime sales to 31.56 million units. Series X and S sold 133,000 units, to bring its lifetime sales to 5.74 million units. And the PS4 sold an estimated 5,500 to bring its lifetime sales to 45.8 million units. Again, generation on generation, PS5 are up by over 155,000 units compared to the PS4. And this Series X and S is actually down by nearly 6,000 units. So pretty much tied, but just a hair down compared to the same month for the Xbox One. So while worldwide the gap grew, in the Americas the gap grew, in Europe, Series X and S did perform a little bit worse than Xbox One did for the equivalent month. So yes, as I mentioned, Series X and S sales are down quite a bit. Not looking great at the moment, but we'll see how things are later in the year. Last year, sales were great, and they just pretty much tanked during the holidays. There was a bit of a boost for the holidays, but not what you would have expected. Mainly because, no big holiday releases. Starfield being delayed is the main reason, which will come out this September. And again, that is the big question mark. How much of a boost will Starfield give? If it gives a big boost, that's a great sign. If it doesn't give a big boost, that's not good. But we'll find out come September, or I guess come October when we get all the full September figures coming in. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Again, year-on-year sales in Europe. This is a big one. PS5 sales are up by 450,000 units year-on-year, which is 315% increase, an over four-fold increase where sales were a year ago. Mind you, PS5 sales were absolutely dismal, at least in Europe, early last year. And then obviously sales picked up later. Sony had been mainly putting more focus on the US and the Americas over Europe. I mean, you could think PS5 is always outsold Xbox by so much that, and then in US and whatever, those gaps are a little bit closer, a little more competitive, so Sony is putting more focus there. Or you could say it could be also partially due to inflation and the currency exchange rates. The US dollar being strong and doing well compared to other parts of the world. Because Sony did increase the price of the PS5 pretty much everywhere except the US, more or less, last year. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, Switch sales are down year on year in Europe, 73,000 units or 21%. So not as bad as in the Americas for Switch, down 21% year on year. And Series X and S sales are down 45,000 units, which doesn't sound that bad, but that is also a 25% drop year on year. So, and the drop again, that is not nearly as bad as the Americas, which had what, a 38% drop. So, and PS5 and PS4 sales, are down 3,700 units or about 40%. Month-on-month sales, PS5 sales are up by over 109,000 units, Switch sales are up by over 78,000 units, and Series X and S sales are up by nearly 17,000 units again. March is a 5-week month, February is a 4-week month. So, in 2023, sales year-to-date in Europe, PS5 sold an estimated 1.49 million units in Europe, Switch of 0.8 million units, and the Series X and S 0.36 million units. Again, if you want a breakdown of the Europe figures, you can check out the link to the article below. And finally, Japan. Nintendo Switch was the best-selling console in Japan. As I mentioned earlier, PS5 in second, Series X and S in a distant... in fourth place. The PS4 outsold the Series X and S in Japan. Sorry, let me rephrase that one. So, yeah. So generation on generation, PS5 is up by over 106,000 units in just Japan alone. Generation over generation. And the Series X and S is actually up compared to the Xbox One by nearly 5,000 units again. Xbox One was pretty much dead on arrival and only sold 116,000 units lifetime in Japan over the course of, 7 years? That's bad. That's really bad. And a lot of that was just in its launch week. So, after its launch, Xbox One sales just died. While Series X and S sales has a little bit of a pulse. It's not completely dead. So yeah, and again, the PS5 is now tracking ahead of the PS4 in Japan as well as the Americas. It's Europe is the main reason why PS5 again is tracking behind the PS4. Year-on-year sales, PS5 sales are up by 163,000 units or 173%. Switch sales are down 73,000 units or 20%. And Series X and S sales are down 1,800 units, which again, doesn't sound that bad, but it's a 25% drop. That's a quarter drop of where it was at. And PS4 sales are actually up 14,800%. Why? Sales were in the double digits. That's how low they were a year ago. So that's why we're getting these crazy percentages. Like, man, it's really on the up and up, the PS4. Man, everyone should be getting it. It looks like that's the next big... It's a joke. It's a joke. Just because sales were so low that you get these crazy percentages. It's just kind of odd that PS4 looked like that was it for stock, and all of a sudden, towards the end of last year, everywhere around the world, there was a lot of PS4 stuff that showed up. I feel like almost out of nowhere. It's like it must have been like in some warehouses somewhere, and Sony decided to ship it for the holidays. And obviously, there's still some units left to be sold. Month-on-month sales in Japan, Switch sales are up by over 66,000 units. PS5 sales are down by nearly 110,000 units month-on-month. Still strong, obviously, but not as strong. February was absolutely a crazy month for the PS5 and Series X and S sales are down by over 20,000 units month-on-month. It was the end of February, I think Microsoft had raised the price of the Series X and S in Japan. And they announced it a few weeks ahead of time, so that's why sales all of a sudden for Series X and S got really strong for a few weeks, then obviously the price has gone up and then the sales have dropped. I think it was either the end of February or beginning of March, I forget the exact date, but that's one of the main reasons for that. And for PS5, there's still some shortages, it looks like, in Japan they're still dealing with. And sales, obviously, were really strong in February as well for PS5. And they were still strong in March, just not as strong. So yeah, if you want to check the breakdown, again, links below in the description. Otherwise, that is going to do it for the breakdown of the March 2023 VGChartz estimates. If you enjoyed this video, again, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And leave any comment down below if you have anything to add yourself. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. And I'll see you all next time for more gaming sales, gaming news, and any other gaming industry news that comes out. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.